There's a 2-minute video circulating of the new Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, in which she says some things that sound quite reasonable. So I want to apply some critical analysis because Meloni heads a hard-right party called Brothers of Italy, and she's quite a fan of the dictator Mussolini, the founder of fascism. Meloni is also a big fan of fantasy fiction, which she and the Italian far right in general believe shares their vision of spirituality against materialism. Given the history of fascism, this anti-materialist rhetoric can be confusing for non-Italians. Meloni says Italian fascism is dead, but she still embraces its patriarchal slogan, God, fatherland and family. Her position is anti-LGBTQI, anti-abortion, anti-immigrant, anti-euthanasia, anti-vaccination. She endorses a white nationalist conspiracy theory that claims that Africans are trying to take over the world, and yet she's managed to convince millions of Italians that she's not an extremist. Time will tell. Something else you need to know about Meloni is that she's a master of rhetoric. Watch her here, setting up to demonize the left. She starts with a demand for answers. It's purely rhetorical. She doesn't want your answers. She's going to give you hers. But the demand makes you engage.
Potrei farne tante altre di queste domande. A monte c'è quella che ci facciamo oggi. Perché la famiglia è un nemico? Perché la famiglia fa così paura? C'è una risposta unica per tutte queste domande.
Oh my God, so much rhetoric already. All these questions? There were only 2, and they were both kind of silly. No one anywhere is frightened of the family, though plenty of people are terrified of individual members of their families. But even the wildest, gayest, most debauched, transgender, polyamorous lesbian doesn't mind you having a family if you want one. But Meloni needs these pseudo-questions to set up for the answer.
Perché ci definisce, perché è la nostra identità.
Okay, there's a trick here. Right-wing politicians use the word family to cloak the much less popular concept, patriarchy. Politicians who talk of family values are actually pushing patriarchal values. The only kind of family they approve of is traditional, conservative, heterosexual and hierarchical, with the father at the top. That attitude defines Meloni's political party, but it doesn't define Italy.
Perché tutto quello che ci definisce in questo tempo è un nemico, per chi vorrebbe che non avessimo più un'identità e che fossimo solamente schiavi, consumatori perfetti.
Did I just hear a dog whistle? Who is it that wants us to have no identity and be perfect consumer slaves? Apparently the left. The very people who obsess over identity, capitalism and mindless consumption. Who knew?
Non devo potermi definire italiana, cristiana, donna, madre, no?
Yes, you can.
Io devo essere cittadino X, genere X, genitore 1, genitore 2, devo essere un numero.
Honey, you can define yourself however you like. That's the whole point of both the modern world and progressive politics. The only people trying to limit how we can define ourselves are those on the right. This is really polished projection.
Perché quando sarò solamente un numero, quando non avrò più un'identità, quando non avrò più radici, beh, allora sarò lo schiavo perfetto in balia della grande speculazione finanziaria, il consumatore perfetto.
There's that dog whistle again. No one loves an anonymized, obediently consuming populace as much as the far right does. But chuck in a sneer about the profiteers and even people who should know better will nod approvingly. Tell us again how you lost your roots.
E questa è la ragione per la quale oggi noi facciamo tanta paura. Questa è la ragione per la quale oggi questo appuntamento fa tanta paura. Perché noi non vogliamo essere dei numeri, noi siamo qui per dire che noi non siamo dei numeri, noi difenderemo il valore della persona umana.
No, that's not why anyone fears the right. We fear you because you always end up enforcing your narrow, hateful creed with violence.
Di ogni singola persona umana, perché ognuno di noi ha un codice genetico unico e irripetibile.
Wait, no you won't. Didn't you just make it clear that there are heaps of human beings that you hate and condemn?
E questo, piaccia o no, ha del sacro.
Another dog whistle, this time to the right. Abortion is legal in Italy since 1978. I sense a war cry coming.
Lo difenderemo, difenderemo Dio, la patria e la famiglia, che fanno tanto schifo a qualcuno.
Actually, what disgusts people and often hides behind these tropes is hypocrisy, bigotry and oppression. But go on, give us the dog whistle one more time and wrap it in an unspecified threat.
Lo faremo per difendere la nostra libertà, perché noi non saremo mai schiavi e semplici consumatori in balia della speculazione finanziaria.
She finishes by quoting G.K. Chesterton, a British intellectual who had a degree of admiration for Mussolini, mainly because he died before Mussolini turned Italy into a one-party state, sanctioning torture, assassinating rivals, and committing genocide in Libya. Chesterton might have been seduced by Meloni too, but he'd have been wrong again. I actually think that Meloni is sincere and well-intentioned. She's just horribly paranoid and patriarchal. She genuinely wants the best for Italy. She's just all wrong about what that is, because this path leads to oppression, violence, and terror.